I want to say, man, I think maybe right before the end of MK11 was
Okay.
when I started. Did you play MK11 by the way?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I see, I see. I'm curious to who you played in that, but let me just kind of get started here. So, it's your boy Fitzroy. I'm here with another episode, and I have with me today is, and I'm so sorry, what would you like to be referred to?
You can call me Mano.
Mano, okay. Well, Mano, before we kind of jump into things, I want to address something that I actually spoke about on the Mortal Kombat group that we're both a part of. And it was, when it comes to fighting games, what do you consider to be toxic?
Ooh, that's a phenomenal question, actually. I think uh, there's so much that can be considered toxic, really, and then, like, it also depends on the person too, because we all have that natural competitive nature into us, right? We all want to win.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it's when you let your ego get the best of you. I think that's when it becomes toxic.
Okay.
Because you can be competitive and still be friendly, you know.
True. True.
I think it's when you let the ego start to kick in, and then you start rage quitting and just swearing and just downing on people so you know aggressively.
Mm. So you would say that, because I think that's something that a lot of people on the group said, that rage quitting was a big thing that is considered to be toxic. I'm guessing you would agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's learning to take a loss.
Mm.
It shows kind of how, like, especially newer generations don't know how to take a loss.
Yeah,
I don't know if you know what I mean.
I think I do. I think I do.
And it's so weird because I stepped away from the competitive aspect of fighting games. I grew up in an arcade. My uncle used to own or used to work for an arcade company,
Okay.
which then he would storage a bunch of the arcades into his bottom floor of his house, and we're talking about Mexico here.
Damn.
And so then he turned his bottom floor into a whole arcade. So his three kids and I would go over, and we would be the ones cleaning the machines and making sure it looks good for opening.
Mm.
And at the end of the night, he was like, choose a machine, and then we would play for like an hour. So growing into like King of Fighters, Street Fighters, Mortal
Mm.
Kombat, Tekken, you know, that competitive nature in me, that fighting game just grew up with me. And now I have a younger brother who then grew up in the arcade generation. He then grew
Mm.
up and they're like, oh, you take a loss, and now you form back in the line and make sure you're ready with your quarter to get back in.
Right.
My brother's all about console gaming, and he counts the frames per second, and he's such an amazing gamer.
Uh huh.
And I play with him, and like I can't win with him. Like I play Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, and he dominates. But I take him back to like Marvel vs. Capcom 2
Mm-hmm.
or King of Fighters and or Killer Instinct, and he can't beat me. But that's just because of the different times that we're in, and every time he loses, he just gets upset. He's like, "You just button smash. You just don't know how to play." And I'm like, "Bro, like it's two completely different styles of gaming, bro. We're talking like old school.
Mm-hmm.
Like we didn't have the time to count the frames per second, bro. Like we were playing in an arcade."
Uh, and I feel like, well, first and foremost, let me just kind of sidestep. Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Who was your team?
Ooh, it's been so long.
It's been right, because I
It's
think
been so,
what,
and I own it. I
99.
still, yeah. And I mean, it's been so long since I played, and I was always that kid that nobody would let him touch the Marvel's Capcom unless I was playing with my cousins. So I never really got to choose like a solid team.
Mm.
If I could remember today, if I was to think about the characters I use, like an Infinite or your newer Marvel's Capcom, I always get Ryu,
Okay.
Wolverine.
All
And
right.
my third is the one that I always kind of like struggle with, which I normally will go with Hulk.
Okay. I feel like that's a pretty fair team. Like it's not like a Magneto or
Yeah,
Sentinel or something like that.
right. No, that's my brother's team. He uses Sentinel, Hulk, and another bulky dude.
Mm.
I want to say it was Nemesis, but we're also talking
Oh, that MVC 3.
three.
Okay.
Yes, we're talking about three there, and because that's what he's more used to.
Mm.
Because now Marvel's Capcom 2, unless you have it on the ROM and you run it on an emulator, it's
Mm.
very expensive to get. It's like $100 and something.
Yeah.
And unfortunately enough, that I still own my copy.
Of MVC 2?
Yep.
So I have my copy too, but it's on Dreamcast. I don't know if that's the version you have.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dreamcast. See, I own it for the PlayStation 2. I had it for the Xbox, but I had to sell it because
Needed
I
that
was
money.
money low on. Yeah.
I got you. I got you.
But
So, but do you think that, speaking about your brother, do you think there's a divide kind of when it comes to online gaming and like arcade era people? Because I feel like in the arcades, you had to take the loss. So there was no rage
right.
quitting. You really couldn't start a fight or start cursing the other person out. You just kind of had to get to the back of the line and put your quarter down. Do you think
I think.
that's
Yeah. I mean, I think is that being behind the screen makes it a lot easier for people to talk trash.
yes?
Just
Yes.
being behind the screen is just. I mean, not only did I, for the first for
Hmm.
the first 10 years of my life, I was in. I grew up in Mexico, right?
Okay.
But then after that, because I'm 30 right now, the other 20 were here in the United States, and I always grew up in a very harsh environment
Mm.
where if you were to talk trash, you're gonna get smacked. You feel me? So then, yeah, we were gamers, we were that, but we were also in the place where like talk to me,
You might get the backside of his hand.
right? So it's those things where yeah, it's so different arcade era to nowadays era. Thankfully, my little brother's a little bit more grateful. He knows better because he knows where he knows that I know where he sleeps. But every now and then we'll get into it. He's too good for me. Like he's like unfortunately I am stuck in a place where I'm too good for my own friends, but not
Yes.
good enough to be
Like in the competitive scene.
competitive.
Yes.
Yep. So then it's very hard for me to find players to play with other than my brother because he's the only one like, oh, dude, I'll use you for practice. I'm like, F you, dude.
And I feel like that is an issue. I was just talking to my homie about this, where a lot of us older guys, where a lot of us might be better than like our friends, but not good enough to like really compete tournament wise.
Right.
And so when it comes to that, how do you balance being an adult and practicing video gaming? Like, do you have like a regiment, or do you just play whenever you can, or
And this is the conversation that I had with my brother. It's like those things where he makes fun of me because I've been playing, fighting games, some games in general for so long, but I'm not as good as I used to be, right? And I'm
mm,
like, dude, you're young, you're in your 20s, you have a part time job, you don't even have a full time job, you still live with mom and dad.
you
Like,
got time?
you got time, bro.
Yes.
I live on my own. I have to pay bills. I have a full time job, and now I'm starting my apprenticeship at a tattoo shop. So it's like
Oh, that's
school
dope.
and yeah. So like it's like school and work, and I'm like, bro, I barely get like 2-3 hours of gameplay a day if I get lucky.
Right? Like I'd come home and I'm like, I want to play, and then PS5 is just collecting dust essentially because I'm
Yep,
just knocked out. I'm tired.
yep. Unfortunately, I'm still single and I'm still by myself. But now imagine if I had kids and I had a wife and I had a routine and all this other stuff.
Forget about it.
Right, and that's one of the things that I told my brother. I'm like, bro, take advantage of your youth right now.
Hmm.
Join the competitive scene, join tournaments, do whatever you gotta do. Like, do
Mm-hmm.
it because there's gonna come a moment where that time's gonna run out unless you're doing or you're getting paid doing what you love. So then I suggest them like, dude, start streaming. You
Yes.
wanna, you wanna make a living of what you're doing because you love it. Start streaming. Start doing something that will give you some type of benefit and it doesn't feel like a job and you're enjoying it. And if that's what it is, go for it. I support you all around. I know mom's not gonna like it, but as soon
No,
as she sees some kind of income coming from it,
it's a different
trust me,
story.
she's gonna, yeah, she's gonna change her mind. It's like with me and tattooing and me and art in general, because I've been doing art my whole life.
Mm.
It's like my mom always hated it. It's like you're not gonna make money off of it. I've been in 16 art shows and now she doesn't mind it. And
Oh,
I'm
okay.
just like, see, mom, like just have a little bit of faith.
And I feel like in our day, like growing up, we didn't have the avenue to make money with video games really, but now there's such a big opportunity to do that. So it's like, if you love it, then why not try and make some money?
Right.
And there's no age gap. There's no like limit. Anyone of any age can start
Right. And
earning
that's kind of
income.
what I'm doing myself too. Is like my brother thinks it's a lot harder to start a stream and start doing like because I used to have a podcast
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, my brother always thought it's very hard, or he thinks that it's very hard to accomplish this certain things. I think he's so sheltered and so shut down from the outside world. And I'm like, look, bro, I'm gonna start it
Mm.
and watch how easy it is.
Right.
And that's kind of where I'm going to right now. Is that I'm starting. I'm right now working on getting my computer built so I can start doing some streaming, and it's just having them into the streams every now and then so that he's comfortable
Hmm.
in front of an audience or in front of a camera.
Hmm.
And so he can also watch his language because he has a very dark humor.
Okay. His vocabulary is kind of
Yeah, it's very out there,
okay.
very dark, very, it's just dark in general. And I'm just like, dude, like, I've invited him to a couple of like my podcasts when I had it running.
Hmm.
Uh,
By the
and
way, what was your podcast about, if you don't mind me asking?
I used to call it my spiritual echo,
Okay.
and me being an artist and me being in a town where art's not that supportive.
Mm.
Um, because I live in Rochester, so we have a Mayo Clinic. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's one of the most like famous hospitals for clinics in the U.S.
Okay.
We recently even had like LeBron James's son here, and people go crazy when we see celebrities in town because we're a small city,
Damn. Okay.
but the hospital controls everything that happens in our city.
Hmm.
So you come into our city, you don't see no art in the streets, you don't see none of that.
Hmm.
So then my thing was like, okay, let's start talking about art. Let's start talking about people who's leaving an echo behind to what they do, if that's art, music, anything that consists of anything creativity. So that's why I call it my spiritual echo.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, the guys I was working with, they had a fallout, they got into a fight, they
Hmm.
split it. Some of the guys took half of their gear, so then
Oh,
we were
wow.
left without, you know, without any gear. So then I kind of had to step away from their drama because it wasn't my drama.
I got you.
And unfortunately, this didn't work out. So now I'm starting to build up my own little setup so I can either start doing the streaming. It's just kind of like what you're doing. I like what you're doing. That's why I was very interested in it.
Hmm.
Where, a way, I can involve video games and or talking and having a podcast
Yeah.
or, just streaming and just see where things go and have fun and have conversations with my friends.
Absolutely. Yeah, you should do it, man. You should absolutely do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that I'm working on right now. And how about you? How long have you been doing fighting games, playing fighting games and all that?
Man, I mean, I've been playing fighting games since that I'm gonna reveal kind of how old I am, but in the since like the '90s. Street
Okay.
Fighter 2 arcade era, just like you. MK. I remember. Like I'm older than MK. Like I remember when I first saw a Mortal Kombat arcade cabinet in a arcade. So ever since then, essentially.
Yeah, I'm a little bit younger. I know that I wasn't. I was. already born when Mortal Kombat 1, or I
Okay.
wasn't born yet when Mortal Kombat 1 came out.
Mm.
So I was born in '93.
Okay. So yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. So probably by the time you were starting to play, maybe MK3 was coming out. Uh,
yeah,
like 95 ish.
yep.
Yeah.
And I was fortunately enough that I had my other uncle who lived up here in the States,
Mm.
and he grew up in that competitive nature, and Mortal Kombat has kind of been through our family. Because my youngest uncle, he used to give me all his hand me downs, so
Mm.
I had every single console
Okay.
because he would get the newest console, so then he would come visit in Mexico and then give me his NES or
Mm.
SNES, and then give me all the games that he had with him, and he always had Mortal Kombat games.
Mm.
So
So
then I kind of started with that.
I was gonna say, with that being said, what was your first MK that you remember playing?
Mortal Kombat 3. I just don't
MK3.
remember which version of 3,
Okay.
but I do own them all.
Oh, really? So you went back to play like one and two?
Yep, yep,
Okay.
yep. As soon as I fell in love with the Mortal Kombat 3, I remember. Well, he gave me Mortal Kombat 2 and Mortal Kombat 3.
Hmm.
And then at a flea market in Mexico, you could just trade video games,
Okay.
sometimes with a little bit of more cash or, you know. And I remember picking up Mortal Kombat 1.
Hmm.
And then I had all three. And then I moved up here and I lost those three copies.
Hmm.
I gave them to a cousin because I couldn't bring them up here. But then I ended up, collecting them again.
Okay. Well, speaking about, I know it's not the same MK1, but speaking about MK1, um, and toxicity, what do you feel is the etiquette when it comes to like fatalities? Like, so we know that the ranked mode is best 2 out of 3 instead of 3 out of 5. But let's say
Mm-hmm.
someone beats you the first game. What do you think the etiquette is? Is it okay to do a fatality? Is it okay to do a brutality?
That's a good
Should they
question.
just let you fall? Like what's the etiquette there?
I was talking to my brother about that recently too, because like I said, I'm not much into the competitive nature today.
Okay.
If someone was to do it to me in the first round, I'd be like, "Ha, okay, cool."
Okay.
You know, like it's whatever. It's rare to see them, so I saw that pattern of okay, people normally don't do it till like the very end.
Right.
Um, but my brother says like, yeah, I mean, it's like a spit in the face. That's what my brother said. I'm like, oh really? He's like, you really see it like that? I guess I'm very chalant about competitive nature. I'm not the type of guy that would get very angry.
Hmm.
So I really wouldn't mind it. It's part of the game. I don't see it as an insult. I
I
feel
feel the
like
same
it's
way. I feel the same way, but a lot of people get upset where it's like, "Oh, you're gonna fatality me, round like
yeah.
game one."
And it feels like it's those things where I feel like we should live in a very sensitive world.
Mm.
So I feel like a lot of the gaming is, or a lot of today's world is affecting also the gaming world.
Mm.
So it's like saying topics. It's like we can't talk about certain topics, politics, or religion because it's a big no. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of friends who are Muslims. I have a lot of friends who are Christians, and I have a lot of friends who are Catholics. That doesn't set a difference. Now, going back to the competitive nature, you want to do a fatality? Go right ahead. That's fun. That's what they're for.
Right.
Like,
I
that's what
agree.
they're for. Get angry for it. Now, if you're gonna start cursing me and say "f your mom" and this and that, okay, now you're
That's
speaking
crossing the
fighting
line.
words.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I
you
agree.
know.
Which have you seen a lot of that on MK? I saw you playing Street Fighter 6 earlier too. Were you? Have
Mm-hmm.
you seen a lot of that in S Street Fighter 6 and or Mortal Kombat 1?
Uh, Mortal Kombat 1, yes, for sure. Oh, there's some nasty
It's
people in there.
so toxic. Yeah.
Where they just start sending me personal messages. I'm like, GG, and they're like, oh, if you like this, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
dude, like, all right, I'll just let it be.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Street Fighter, not that much, just because I kind of stepped away from it for a little bit. As soon as Mortal Kombat came out, like
Okay.
I was just grinding on that thing until I realized it wasn't. I don't know.
But I feel in Street Fighter 6, if I remember correctly, because I kind of stepped away from Street Fighter as well. But in Street Fighter 6, they don't have the microphones automatically on the way they do in Mortal Kombat, right?
Right. So I normally don't get a lot of people talking, or I don't set up any. It's the personal messages.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
This is where people all of a sudden, just they get so mad that they'll send you a personal message and be like, "All right, dude, this is, you suck, or you were
Yes.
spamming, or whatever, or you're too aggressive." I get that one a lot. Like, you're too aggressive. I'm like, well,
You want me to just let you attack me? Like, would you?
yeah. It was like my brother says that to me. So I'm like, "You're too aggressive," and I'm like, "What does that mean? What does too aggressive mean?"
Yeah.
In a fighting game, what is too aggressive? Have you ever gotten into a real
Fight? Exactly.
What's not aggressive? What's too aggressive?
I agree. Yeah, in a fighting game, I'm fighting you. What do you mean?
Right. Right.
So speaking about that, if you're down, we could do maybe a first to five in
Let's
MK1.
do it. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to set up a private room. I'm going to send you the invite in just a moment. Okay. Man, I feel like I haven't played since I just downloaded Chameleon. Did you have you downloaded her or played
Yeah,
with
I
her at
did.
all?
I downloaded her and just did a quick game before I had to go to work just to get the feel for it.
Hmm.
And I think it's a character or a cameo that you really need to like sit down and really do training mode with them.
Yeah, you do. Just because it's always switching. I haven't really tried her, but just watching other people play it, I'm like, I don't even know how I would go about
Right.
it.
Yep. Ooh, Gears. All right.
Geras. Oh, Reptile is on my list of characters I want to use.
He's pretty cool. I like his speed. That's what I like about him.
Have you been having?
Use...
What happened?
Huh?
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I normally use Scorpion, but in this game,
okay,
I just couldn't find myself with him.
He does feel a little bit different.
Yeah, it's been a minute since I played.
Yeah. And like I said, I saw that you've been playing Street Fighter more recently. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what are your opinions of MK1?
So there's so much work that needs to be done on this game. So much work. A lot of people say like the what am I trying to say? The quality of life things on the game needs to be refined, and I agree.
Yeah.
Like the desyncing issue. I don't know if you've had that.
No. Explain to me that. I've heard a lot of people talk about that.
Yeah, where apparently you'll go into a fight and it will, before it begins, the fight will just end. Like you don't get a chance to play.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't had that happen to me.
I've had it happen a couple times. Oh wow, okay. That's safe. Oh, I forget he has that.
Yeah.
Oh, good blocks.
What other fighting games do you normally play? Is it
so
Mortal Kombat 1 that you're more
into? I play Street Fighter 6 as well.
Okay.
I play. Man, what are the games? I want to pick up Tekken 8. I don't know if Tekken is
It
is
is on my
something that you're
bucket
into.
list. Yeah,
I want
it's
to
in
pick
my
up.
bucket list. Yeah.
Even though I haven't really played any Tekken 7, I don't know if that's something that you played.
I got Tekken 7. I
Mm,
got the collector's edition because I like the statues.
right?
Uh, but I let it borrow from my brother at the time,
Oh, okay.
and I just never got it back.
you,
You know how that goes.
yeah, exactly.
So I never really got the chance to really play it or enjoy it. But
Oh, okay. But I hear
now my
it's
brother and
very
I,
good.
yeah, I mean, now that my brother and I have the PlayStation 5, I mean, I've been having it for a while. He we started to do share play, or not share play, but share accounts.
Right.
So now when he buys a game, he only buys digital,
Oh,
so that we
really?
can share the game. Yeah,
How do you how
he's
do
a
you
digital only.
how do you feel about that? Because I'm super old school when it comes to.
Me too. I'm a
I want
collector.
the cartridge.
I have to have it.
Yeah.
Yes, I have to feel it. I have to know that it's there. My ADHD would tell me that it's not there if I don't see it.
Exactly. But with the digital copy, you can share the game.
Yeah. So if it's digital,
Ah,
what you can do is that, let's say you and your brother, for example, he homes your PlayStation and you home his PlayStation. So then
okay.
when you do that, any games that you buy, he can download on his PlayStation, and then any games that he buys, you can download on yours.
Really? And you
Yep.
just share the game?
Yep. And you share the game.
Huh.
So that's what my brother and I have been doing. Is that when he buys a game, uh, I just download it from his account to my PlayStation, and then when I buy a game, like I recently bought Diablo, because it's something that we were both kind of interested about,
Uh-huh.
and then I shared it with him. He was like, "Dude, I just bought Diablo. If you want to download it." Yeah, he got home, downloaded it. That's kind of what we've been playing right now.
Damn, how is Diablo, by the way? The new one.
It's new to me. I've never played a Diablo. I played a game on the PSP uh, when I was in my teens,
Mm.
that seemed very similar to Diablo, and I loved it. So then
Okay.
when Diablo came about, Diablo 4 came about, I'm like, bro, let's try it.
Mm.
And he was like, I'm down. I said, not willing to pay $70 for a game that I don't know if I'm gonna like. And I'm just like, fair enough. So it was on sale for the holidays, I believe,
Okay.
and not by much really. And so I bought it, and he got it. Yeah, I mean, it's a good game. I mean, those are more like my kind of like the kind of games that my brother would play.
Okay. Like those like RPG kind of games?
RPG kind of games. I mean, he plays everything from It's just he plays the fighting games because of me. I got him into the fighting games.
Okay.
He just has more time to really study the frames per second and all the
Right.
moves and combos. And I'm like, all right, bro. Like I remember I got him in Justice 2, and I'm more about the lure. I'm more about the story now.
Story mode? Yeah.
Yeah, like I like the lure. I like the characters. As an artist, I enjoy the art that it takes, not only to write the story and create the story, but
Ah,
just the way they're drawn and they're created and design and stuff. That's the stuff I love.
right. And just putting together a story like that and executing it is great.
Right.
And I think NetherRealm is probably the best at it. Did you do the what is it called in Street Fighter? The World Tour mode?
I did most of it. Didn't finish it.
Neither did I.
But I thought it was interesting. I think it was a very fresh and new take to Street Fighter,
Yes, absolutely.
and I think it's something that they really needed. But going with that, I feel like this is how Mortal Kombat's gonna go.
What do you mean?
I feel like Mortal Kombat 1 is a Street Fighter 5 of Mortal Kombat.
Oh,
Or Mortal
yeah.
Kombat, if that makes sense.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Where they need
So
to
I
come
feel
back.
like,
Uh huh.
and I feel like they're doing it almost like on purpose.
The companies?
That, this is just a theory. It's a theory. Let's just put your thin hat on.
Okay.
It's those things where I really do think that it's those let's not make the worst games, but let's just release it. Let's just go. And I feel like a lot of it had to do also with COVID,
Mm.
because that's when the game was being worked on.
Right.
Warner Brothers trying to sell, all their games and all that stuff too, and them kind of being like, we're kind of in the fence about things. Where are we gonna go after this? That's why they also put away Injustice 3
Mm.
instead of releasing instead of releasing Injustice,
Injustice
they
3.
had to release Mortal Kombat because they didn't know where they were gonna go.
Right.
If they were gonna still be with Warner Brothers or not. And I feel like all that impacted this game. So they're just rolling with it right now.
I
One
see.
thing that when you think about is that, okay, they're listening to us. It's not like they're ignoring us. They're listening to it.
But
They're listening to everything we say. They have to.
right.
And they're just going to go like, okay, let's fix as much as we can. This is also going to be like DBC Fighters, where it was like a slow start, and now everyone loves that game.
Right. But
Because they still have...
I was gonna say, have you seen the tweet by like by a NetherRealm employee about how they want to talk more to the community, but they have to go through so many
Loopholes and...
yes,
talk to Warner Brothers
approvals
and
and
all that
whatnot. Right.
Yeah, it's... Right now, what's going on is that they have NetherRealms in a tight leash.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers is a huge company, right? And all they want is money. That's all they want. That's all they care about. And Warner Brothers, as we've seen it from previous games, is that they're all about the community.
Yeah.
That's Ed Boon has. I've never considered Ed Boon someone who to be money greedy. In my opinion,
I would agree with that. Yeah, I think he does it for the passion of the.
yeah. I mean, he's been doing it for how long?
Yeah.
How many video games, or companies even last that long? And that's why in the community, I don't know if you've ever seen any of my comments, I'm very aggressive on defending NetherRealms. But I'm not going to defend the game. I know the game needs work. I know that there's a lot of stuff missing. I know that it feels very halfway done.
It does, and that's the sad part, because I feel like, so for example, I think they do a great job with the story. Invasions, I'm okay with, but I know it's not the best. I really wish they went back to like conquest mode. Yes.
And I feel like they can go so differently with Conquest now. I don't know. It's just imagine if they did a Conquest, Shaolin Monk style.
Yes, I don't understand why we can't get something like that.
Yeah, I don't know, and I feel like a lot of it again has to do with. I think a lot of it again has to do with Warner Brothers. They just want to release something quick to make money quick. They know that Mortal Kombat sells.
Yeah, and it does sell because it outsold Street Fighter already.
Yeah, and it did. It's just unfortunately the game wasn't as good.
I agree.
As Street Fighter.
I agree.
Street Fighter, you could tell that they went for the community. They added more. They wanted you to play that game for a long time.
You can see the polish in Street Fighter 6. Yeah.
100%. What I don't like about Street Fighter is how much it costs for a goddamn costume. And I'm sorry for my swearing. I hope it's okay for me to swear.
Yeah. Like the Ninja Turtles costumes. Yeah.
Oh, the Ninja Turtles. I was just like, I'm not gonna pay that much for it. I want to have Michelangelo on there, but it's just I'm not gonna pay. What was it? $20?
I think it was like 15 per. I think it was 15 per turtle.
I think that's what. Yeah, it was just an outrageous kind of like price, and I was just like, whoa.
Yeah, it's like if you had all of them, it was like the cost of the game essentially.
Yeah. And I mean, I bet that had to do a lot with Nickelodeon being involved. And
man, I forget that Nickelodeon owns the Ninja Turtles.
Yep. Yep. So I know that's probably what it had to do with, more Nickelodeon. Like, okay, well, we want to make this much money,
Uh-huh.
But I don't know. I'm not 100% sure on that one. But yeah, that's the only thing. That's the only downer, and how long it's taking for them to release more content on it. But
Mm-hmm.
I also feel like that's a bit of a greedy. I don't know if greedy is the right word, but kind of like selfish
Well, they're trying to.
intake on it.
I feel like that. I feel like people have felt similar when it came to the skins for MK1 as well.
Yes.
So there was a big thing about that. So
I mean, the sad part about Mortal Kombat, it's like, okay, you already released a half-ass game, and now
yes,
you're trying to charge us so much for one costume.
yeah, and
Like, at
then
least
like
give it as a bundle.
I would have liked the bundle, and people were upset about like the what is it called, the holiday fatalities. Remember that?
Yes,
Yeah.
the holiday
Ooh,
fatalities too. I
Quan
was just like,
Chi.
yeah, it's a character I've been kind of playing with here and there.
But yeah, the holiday fatalities, people were upset because it was like $10 per
Per
fatality.
fatality.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we used to get them for free,
Yes, we did. Yeah.
and it's those things where you can tell how Warner Brothers are pulling the strings.
Hmm.
I really do think it has to do more. And again, that's maybe just me defending NetherRealm.
Hmm.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know anything behind the scenes or anything.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I feel like since Warner Brother kind of took charge, like yeah, at first it was just like Warner Brothers, like okay, cool, it's Mortal Kombat. Let's have them make video games, right?
Right.
And then all of a sudden they saw how much money Mortal Kombat makes, and they're like, okay, now let's step in.
Right. Because you're right, it does. Mortal Kombat makes money.
A ton of money too. Oh god, I forgot my combo.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
And how do you feel about the cameos? I know that there's a lot of backlash with some people.
You know what? I'm okay with it. I understand that people think that it, or I think the consensus is they were supposed to be for Injustice because they were supposed to be sidekicks for the superheroes.
Mm,
But they
that
just
makes sense.
reskinned it for Mortal Kombat, and
Mortal Kombat.
yeah, which I'm okay with. I like them. The reason being I like it is because back in the day we would get new content or new characters or something for DLC, and it would be cool. Like you have a new character to play around with or to try to learn.
Yep.
But when they come out with a new cameo in this game, everybody's character is upgraded. So even if you don't want to change the character you're using, like for example,
Yeah,
Chameleon came out, everyone is has something new to do with that cameo. You know what I mean?
that's true. That's true.
Yeah. What about you? What are your thoughts on cameos?
I don't mind it. I mean, I don't use them as much as I probably should, or I
Hmm.
don't implement them as much as I probably should.
Okay.
But I can see how some people could love it and some people could hate it.
Yeah.
I mean, also like I said, we used to have like cameo-like characters from Marvel Capcom.
Right.
So I don't know. I never really minded. I do wish it was more like MK9, like a tag team type of thing.
Yes. Yeah. And you know what? I feel like they didn't really do a lot with that mode, and I wish they did with tag team.
Yep, I think so too. I feel like they could have done way more with it, but they decided not to go that route.
Yeah. Which is a shame.
I'm really just more curious and more excited now to see how the next game is gonna come out or how it's gonna be. Like if they're gonna do like, alright, let's redeem us and do us.
Yeah. I mean, do you think they're already thinking about another Mortal Kombat game? Because
Yes. I
we
mean, they
haven't
have
even
to.
gone through Combat Pack 1, and there are probably going to be like two others. You know what I mean?
Um, yeah, I think they are. I think especially with the route that they're going in the community, I
Hmm.
feel like yeah, there's gonna be the people still working on MK1, but there's already have to be some people at the very least setting out the ground for um
For the
the
next
next Mortal
game.
Kombat or the next game. Because again, we don't know what Warner Brother is planning to do with their video game companies. Because I don't know, I haven't looked into it. I know that they were trying to sell them a few years back.
Hmm.
I don't know if now they're keeping them because Howard's Legacy did really good, which they also own Harry Potter and all that
Oh,
stuff.
you're right.
And you know, Mortal Kombat, even though it's not doing so good, it's still sold a ton of games. They made their money back.
Absolutely.
And there's still people, even though they're complaining about it, people still bought costumes.
Yeah.
People still bought the
Yeah.
fatalities. They complain, but they bought them.
Right, and so that's a problem I have with the community is you have to vote with your dollars, right? So if you
Yeah,
don't like something, don't
don't buy it.
don't buy it. Exactly.
Yep. But and yeah, I mean they're gonna continue making it. So I mean, like I said, it all depends now on Warner Brothers, but I'm sure they're at least setting the ground for the next game at the very least.
So as far as a next game goes, what would you want to see? Another Mortal Kombat or Injustice or something else?
I'm a- at this point, I do want to take a break from Mortal Kombat. I feel like having two Mortal Kombat back to back, and
Mm,
this one kind of being as bad as it turned out to be.
right.
I do think that having a different kind of game would be a take a fresh air. And even
Hmm.
if it was Mortal Kombat, at least a Shaolin Monks kind of game,
Okay. Okay.
which
Like
that's something that a lot of us have been wanting anyway.
yes.
I feel like that would be a very powerful thing to do.
Hmm.
But if they were to make an Injustice, I would be as happy.
Injustice.
Yeah.
Who did you play in Injustice, by the way?
Injustice 2, I only found myself with one character, and that was kind of unfortunate, which was Harley Quinn.
Oh, okay. Harley was good in that game, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, she was pretty good. It was Harley Quinn and Blue Beetle.
Oh, I wanted to pick up Blue Beetle.
Blue Beetle was fun.
Yeah.
My brother though, who did he also used to choose Harley Quinn,
Hmm.
but he likes the bulky characters. I forgot who was all under them.
So like
Swamp Thing.
Oh, okay. Swamp Thing was dope in that game.
Yeah, he used to use him a lot. But yeah, he's always loved the bulky characters. Like he loved Jason Voorhees and X.
I played Jason too in X. Yeah, I loved him a lot actually.
One thing that my brother loves and misses is Mercy.
Is what?
Mercy?
Oh, the mechanic of Mercy?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mercy, yeah. Because I don't know. See, to me, that was more of a spit in the face.
Doing a Mercy?
Doing a Mercy. It was like, here, I kicked your ass, let me kick your ass again.
Yeah.
So to me, it was just like, especially him, because he was just so good at games that I was just like, dude, just let me win for once,
Let me-
dude. Which I don't mind, but he really doesn't even let you breathe. Like he knows combos, like optimal combos. And I'm like, dude, like how, when? I'm like, well, you put the freeze per second, and then this button, and then he has very, very bad like ADHD. So sometimes like he works with me at work.
Okay.
We work at a restaurant.
Hmm.
So sometimes he'll just come into the office and be like, bro, if you do this and you do an uppercut and you do this and you do that, I'm like, whoa, hold on, bro, what are we talking about? He's like, oh, yeah, Mortal Kombat. And I'm like, okay, start with that.
Start with
So, like, his mind is consistently
thinking of new things to do.
Yeah. So he's like, dude, I just thought about it. What if I do this and I do that? And then I do this? Like, dude, we need to play tonight so I can, like, try it on you. I'm like, all right.
And I feel like that kind of person would do really well with content creation.
That's what I'm saying, and that's why I keep telling him, like, bro, you need to start making content. You
Mm.
need to jump in there. And I think he's very self conscious because he knows that sometimes he blurts out stuff that he shouldn't.
Okay.
Uh, he just doesn't know how to filter himself. He just says it's on his mind, which
Mm.
I love about him because I know that he's being honest. I know
Right.
that he's not gonna lie to me. But at the same time, we live in a time where people are just very sensitive, you know.
Right. But
So
some people might enjoy that about him, the fact that he's, you know.
yep, and that's why I tell him too. I'm like, bro, you will never know until you do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like you're losing anything right now. If people go like, yeah, I don't like this content.
Yeah, it's free
Okay,
to do it.
it's free to
Yeah.
do it, and you will never know until you do it. You know, he just holds back a lot. He's very self conscious because he knows, he knows who he is, and I love that about him is that he knows who he is, and he doesn't filter his mind. He just says whatever's on his head.
Hmm. Yeah, I think he would be able to find an audience that enjoys that about him, you know?
Yeah, I do too, and he's very comical too. Like one of his things that he's always wanted to do is do stand up comedy too. So I'm
Oh,
like,
really?
dude, do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
consistently thinking of jokes. His mind is just consistently grinding,
Hmm.
and it's heartbreaking too because I know that sometimes he wants to sleep early so he can go to work the next day and he can't because his brain is just
It's just going.
consistently thinking. Yeah, it's just consistently thinking. So
Oh,
that also comes with gaming and consistently thinking of combos and ways to get around things. And
yeah.
what other fighting games do you play again?
So Street Fighter, right now, I mean, I don't know if you count it, but I used to play Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I do some stuff are you familiar with Fightcade?
Fight game? No.
Okay, Fightcade is dope. I think you might like it. So it's a program. It's a free program online. It allows you to play old arcade games online with rollback against other people online.
Oh,
So like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is on there. Street Fighter Third Strike. Ton of like Super Nintendo games. So I'll do those kind of stuff with like some of my friends.
oh, that's interesting. There's a game that I've been able to find an arcade here that my local like retro video game store has.
Okay.
They have an arcade in there, and it has one of those arcades that has just a bunch of
Yeah, a bunch of games.
yeah, and one of them is JoJo's Bizarre Adventures that came out for the PlayStation One.
I remember that. I'm terrible at it, but I remember.
Well, see, we're both terrible, my brother and I, but
Uh-huh.
because we're both terrible at it, we actually are pretty good at going at each other in
Uh-huh.
the game. So it's a game that we've been trying to find, and now it's super expensive and super rare to find it because I like to have the original.
Uh-huh.
But
It's
just knowing that that's out there and that might have it,
it's
that's
on
interesting.
Fightcade. It is on there.
Okay, and it's like a website, or how does that work?
Oh, I think you got me. Oh, never mind.
Oh, you
Um,
got me.
Fightcade is, yeah. If you Google Fightcade, it'll come up, and it's literally just something you download, you put on your computer, and yeah, you can play with people online. There's just like random play, or you can play privately with friends.
Interesting. I'm on
It's dope. It's dope.
right now.
And while you're looking that up, question for you. You asked me what fighting games I play. What other fighting games do you play?
At the moment, right now, it's just Street Fighter 6
Okay,
and MK1 every now and then when my brother.
with your brother. Who do you
Yeah,
main in
when my
Street
brother.
Fighter?
Huh? Who do I play? Ken.
Okay.
Ken, I'm waiting for Akuma.
Ah, yes. I know they just revealed Ed, and
Ed,
I think we get
yes.
Akuma in uh, a month after that.
I think so.
So,
My brother's just excited for Ed. That's why we recently jumped back in
okay,
because he's excited for Ed. That's and he's named. I mean, not he's not named after Ed, but they share the same name.
I see.
So
Does
he loves that character.
did he play Ed in five? Like, did you guys play any
Yes.
five? Okay.
Yeah, he loves. I stepped away from five as soon as I got it. I was just like, it's just like MK1. It was missing a lot of content.
Yes.
The only thing about MK1 is that they've always had, or MK in general, they've always had very interactive and very good story modes.
Right.
So that's kind of what keeps me in there. And then I was hoping that Invasion would keep me.
Yeah. How do you feel about
Play.
Invasions?
I thought I was gonna like it a lot more.
Yeah.
It's very repetitive,
It is very repetitive.
and I hate the survivals.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah, yeah,
All
yeah.
those survivals, I'm like, test your might. Awesome, great, I love them. I mean, it's a stamp in Mortal Kombat. You know, you can't have Mortal Kombat without a test your might.
Right.
But survival, it's just not what I was or Invasion. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just not what I was expecting.
Yeah, I knew it was gonna be this grid thing, but I just thought it would be more fun. And it's better than nothing, don't get me wrong, but I would have rathered it be more fun. Like, I would have rathered MK11's Shang Tsung's Island, like that crypt that we had.
Yep.
Give us that with, like, fights in between or something like that. I thought would have been dope, but, you know.
Yeah, it would have. I just feel like there's so many different ways it could have gone, and now it makes sense when how you were telling me that cameos were maybe originally made for Injustice, and I wonder if that's what they were starting with,
I think so.
and then Warner Brothers kind of shut it down.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, because then that makes a lot of sense to why it feels like there's so much missing. Is because maybe they were thinking of adding way more to Injustice, but it doesn't fit in a Mortal Kombat game.
Right, and then they didn't have the time because I think Warner Brothers was like, we want this out, you know, at X amount of time or X date rather.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that. Because also I remember that when they announced, or someone in Warner Brothers had said, like, yeah, we're excited for the two games they're releasing this year in 2023, and they say Suicide Squad and Mortal Kombat 1.
Yeah,
And then they heard that they were planning on pushing Mortal Kombat 1 back, but then Suicide Squad did it first. So then Warner Brothers was like, no, we have to release one game this year.
right, right. And NetherRealm doesn't have the choice to determine when, like the release date is Warner Brothers that decides that.
Yep. Yep, and that's like what I said, that's very unfortunate. I wish that NetherRealm was an independent company instead of
Yeah.
being under Warner Brothers, but that was a desperate move.
Oh, that's oh, dang. But I mean, they needed the money because remember when they used to be Midway,
Yep.
and Midway, I don't know what happened to them.
Went bankrupt.
They
Yep.
went bankrupt. Yeah, exactly.
Man, you know what? You need to have my brother on here.
Oh, you think so?
I think you'll enjoy it.
I know you can connect those, but I don't know the timing.
Yeah, I mean, right now my brother he's at work.
Okay.
Yeah, working at a restaurant, we rarely get the weekends off. I
Oh,
mean, I'm
I
a
bet.
manager there.
I bet.
I'm a manager. He's only expo, but him being the only expo we have,
Hmm.
weekends are essential for him. Like he has to.
Yeah,
work the
you have
weekend.
to be available. Yeah, for at a restaurant.
Oh shit.
So, have you ever thought of doing like? I know in the group they're talking about doing like a group tournament. I don't know if you saw that post. Is that something that you think you'd want to? Ah. Okay.
Maybe not on my end.
Okay.
I told my brother, and like I said, I don't practice enough for me to
Mm,
You know, for me to feel like I'll be at least decent in a tournament.
right.
But my brother does. My brother, he's a zoner, or he likes the zoners too.
Oh, really?
He like in Street Fighter, he uses JP.
Of course. I was just gonna say, if he plays Street Fighter, it's gotta be JP.
Yeah, and I disgust him with JP. Uh, Yesterday we did 10 rounds, and he won every single one of them with JP.
But
But he chooses any other character, and I beat him. It's
okay.
just he uses JP that it's just like he's just unstoppable with him.
I mean, JP, he's considered like top three in that game. I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think I also seen a lot of people use Jury.
Oh yeah. Jury's good. I mean, speaking about that, I mean, are there really any bad Street Fighter Six characters right now? And if so,
Not bad, but
are there? Hmm.
I feel like the one that gets used the least would be like E Honda.
Okay.
Haven't seen a lot of people use E Honda. I'm not saying that he's not good. I just haven't seen enough people use him, so I don't know if he would be considered bad, but not mechanically. No, I don't think there's any bad mechanical characters.
I don't think so either. And would that be the same with MK1? Do you feel like there's any characters that are just bad in this game?
Um, it's because I feel like decide what a bad character or good character, at least in my opinion, has to do a lot also with preference.
Okay.
Um, like I personally think Reiko's like way too slow,
Oh, okay.
but I know that my brother, he's decent with them.
I can imagine if he likes zoning because Reiko and those stupid stars are are
Yeah,
ridiculous.
right. But I mean, like my brother, like right now, the one that he's practicing with a lot, I'm learning how to do pretty good combos with is Ken Chi.
Okay.
And he goes like it's a harder character to learn because you technically using three characters, not just two.
Right. Because it's the cameo, Kenshi himself, and Sento.
Sento, yep. But I don't know. I guess I haven't really quite jumped into the mechanics. It's just MK1 for me. It's just not. I don't know. not, I haven't
You're
played
not
that
feeling
much
it.
as I.
You're not
Yeah,
feeling it.
and it's I love the story. I think that the new intake of it, it's amazing. Switching the story up a little bit, switching characters, not knowing that who Bihan and Hanzo not even being in the picture.
Right.
Where is he? All this type of questions. So the story is amazing. I'm so curious about the story. It's just not enough content for me to keep me going back and playing Mortal Kombat. If that makes sense.
So if you think, because my guess is we're gonna get something like Aftermath for this game, where
Right.
do you think that would be something like, other than that, what would NetherRealm have to do to get you to play the game more?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, at this point, I don't. I really don't know. I don't know unless they added like a different mode. Like I said, Conquest to me was what would get me going back
Hmm.
into the game on the last one, and the game was also. I don't know. I really don't know. That's a good question.
Hmm. Like,
I feel
is
like
there anything that they can do, or is it just you don't like the system?
I don't mind the system so much.
Okay.
I feel like
That was weird.
it has to do with more content,
Okay.
different ways to unlocking more gear, maybe stuff that would like want me to grind more, and actually feel like I'm accomplishing something by even playing online.
Okay. So like it.
Because
Well, go ahead.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
I was gonna say if they provided like what more rewards for playing ranked.
Yeah, I mean that will help a lot. I mean, also the fact that to unlock certain gear you have to. Well, actually, I kind of like that you have to kind of like play the character, and then it levels up and you
Oh
unlock
yeah,
more
the
stuff.
mastery stuff.
Yeah, I like that, but I feel like you also have to grind way too much
Hmm.
for it to only get what 35 items. Are
Yeah.
they gonna add more to it? Are they gonna what's the is it 35 and that's it? And also like the new character is only up to 20 or 25
Right, and
instead of
they don't even
25
get a lot of
customizables.
yeah, I noticed that.
You see, this is what my brother calls me a cosmetic bitch because I love the cosmetics. Because I love the cosmetics. So any game that has to do with a lot of cosmetics, making your characters look unique and
Uh-huh.
make them look like you or whatever identify yourself with,
Mm-hmm.
to me that's amazing.
How do you
And
feel
I
they're doing with that in MK1? Because I know there's less customization than
feel
MK11
like
than the last
sometimes
game.
less is better,
Mm.
but depending on what that less is.
Okay.
So I feel like, for example, in Justice 2, I feel like they had way too much.
I see what you mean. Okay.
You get what I'm saying? Like, whoa, like there's too much, which is great. But then you come to MK1 and it feels like it's not enough.
I agree. Or I feel like some of the stuff. So I use Geras as my main, and one of his customization things is like his chest piece, and it's like I
Mm-hmm.
barely see that in like when I'm
Yep.
fighting.
Or like Kenshi's sword. Like, I can't tell the difference between the swords, dude. Like,
Right.
yes, so it's those things, and the fact that there's only one item and then your costume, and then
Yeah.
that one item doesn't make a big difference.
Exactly.
It's like, okay, like we could have done something different,
I agree.
But yeah, I feel like maybe having more customizables, making it more so you actually getting some type of reward. Nothing that will help you improve your gaming, but at least something that, oh hey, I lost or I won, but I still unlocked something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Okay.
know. I feel like that will get me more into the game
Hmm.
personally. And something, and I always love the little modes, like different modes. Like, if we go look back into like the 3D era, we had
Chess combat,
yeah, and
the
yep, chess combat, and then what was
racing,
that Tetris one?
Tetris. Yep. Yep.
Puzzle, yeah, that puzzle combat or whatever.
Uh huh.
All those type of engaging type of little video games for someone who's not doing a lot of competitive gaming.
Mm-hmm.
I think is what is more needed.
Okay.
Because again, I'm not much into the competitive scene. I'm not gonna go online and consistently be grinding on it
Right.
because I don't have the time. Especially because I don't have the time to look into the combos and study the combos and remember the combos and study the frames per second. So it makes it very hard for me to jump to the competitive. So now, how do you target that? How do
Right.
you target the non-competitive gamers?
I feel you. I
And I
feel you.
feel like that's just what we need. Something that targets the non-competitive players.
Okay. So with that, I want to respect your time, sir. Before we wrap this up, if people want to find you online, where could they go to do that? Like, do you have
Yeah,
any
that's
projects or anything going on?
Um, well, I will be starting streaming here pretty soon. So
Where
as
can they
soon as
find
I
your
get
stream?
that, right now I don't have that. That's my step right now. Working on getting a
Okay.
page. I don't want to use my main emails and my main stuff at the moment. Um, just because I've heard of a lot of stuff happening. If you put actual information on there.
Right.
But it's as soon as I do get it and I can send it to you, and you just want to put it somewhere or something,
Yeah, I'll put it in the
I'll do that.
description. Let me know what it is. It'll be down below. And then you guys can check him out there. But again, I wanted to say thank you so much for joining me, spending some time talking video
No
games,
problem.
and maybe we can do it again soon.
Yeah, let's do that soon. Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you for having me. It was fun. I enjoyed it. You kicked my butt. I need to practice more.
Thank
But
you, sir. I appreciate it.
no, thank you, man. It was nice being